Hi, everybody. I'm Judy the YouTube Lawyer here today with another legal live stream show. Today, our special guest is a returning guest. She's an attorney for the federal government based in Texas, and her name is LaRita Baskerville. She's a graduate of Rutgers University and UDC Law School. And she also has a great YouTube channel, which is totally growing. I hope you guys check out her YouTube channel also. It's called TXC Tells All, if you're not subscribed already. So let's add LaRita Baskerville to the screen. Hi, LaRita. Thank you.
Hi, Judy. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, it's always great when people are willing to be guests again, because it's so hard to find new guests and, do all the emails back and forth and scheduling and stuff. So Hi, Dr. Seth.
Hey, Dr. Seth.
Hi, Tony.
Hi,
Thank
Tony.
you for being here. Thank you. Okay, so today our topic is going to be us two reacting to a couple of viral legal videos. They were actually put on YouTube by somebody. I still don't know who did it, but the YouTube channel was called Jobless Jane. And this was like put up about 9 to 10 years ago, but I still think that it's kind of a timely topic. So let me add this to the stream. And I hope that, let me know if you can hear it. I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's a
Okay, I'm going to turn my volume
3 minute. Okay, you ready?
Cartoons. I didn't expect cartoons.
Big Mark boy. Do you know where I can find the caviar? I'm hosting a party at my famous Blackacre Lake estate for my fellow wealthy law school professors.
As a matter of fact, yes. Oh my gosh. It's good to see you, Dean Scumbuckets. Hey, could you please set me up with a law job so that I can get the fuck out of here? I couldn't find a job after I graduated because the other third-tier toilet school diploma mills flooded the market with tens of thousands more lawyers than our nation's economy can absorb.
Hello, I remember you now from my property law class. I wish I could find you a job, but there aren't nearly enough entry-level law jobs for lawyers.
But your law school's brochure claimed that 85% of all graduates found law firm jobs that start people at $70,000 per year.
And you believed that shit. Why didn't you do your research beforehand?
Well, how the fuck was I supposed to know? I was just a naive 21-year-old scared shitless that I wouldn't find a job with my political science degree. All of the law schools had similar employment stats. Everyone I have ever known told me that all lawyers are rich. Articles in the newspaper said that higher education was the key to getting a good job, and the American Attorneys Guild sanctioned similar employment stats and continues to accredit new law schools, which makes it look like lawyers are in great demand. I have been brainwashed to believe that higher education would be the key to my success since kindergarten.
Ignorance of the reality of the law is no excuse. Didn't you learn that in criminal law?
It's not funny, you fart noker. Almost all of my clients are deeply in debt and suicidal, and they all live in their parents' basements. At least I was able to find a job here at the customer service desk. Poor Katie from my torts class has to scrub toilets. We are all slaves to the student loan companies, and we cannot discharge these loans in bankruptcy.
You suckers keep getting dumber and dumber every year, flooding law schools like mindless lemmings. I and the other law professors thank you for paying for our 5,000-foot mansions and caviar. Truth be told, we could give a shit less if you little poop stains ever find jobs in the legal profession. All we want is for you to make us rich. I am so glad that our politicians continue to destroy the US economy by sending jobs overseas so that everyone wants to go to college. Now our politicians are importing foreigners on H-1B and O-1 visas to take American jobs that often require a college education. Now college graduates cannot find jobs in their fields, and so they flood into the law schools to retrain and reeducate in the hopes of becoming wealthy lawyers with social status. I bet many of the males thought becoming a lawyer would be a good way to attract hot chicks. Suckers. Now get back to work stocking shelves and get me my fucking caviar, you peasant.
The moral of this story is, don't fuck up your life like I did. Higher education no longer guarantees vocational success. Don't fall for the law school scam, you dumb motherfuckers.
Well,
I didn't realize that there would be so much cursing here.
That went left real quick. I was not expecting that from some cartoon characters.
Well, I mean, I think I watched this a long time ago because my little sister was in law school. Oh, oops. I'm sorry. Let me.
Which man?
Okay. Yeah. Please excuse the cursing. I did not realize there was so much cursing in it because I don't think I've seen this video in quite a long time, but I remember it being funny. Because when my little sister was in law school at UNC, she emailed me the link to some of these like funny cartoons, and that's how I knew.
Well, there was some humor and some truth mixed into the humor, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think? So the guy says that the law school brochures all said that people would start out making at least 70,000 a year, which, I mean, I guess maybe like 10, 12 years ago, 70,000 a year starting salary might have been decent, but I remember the Georgetown brochure saying much higher, like you just expected to be coming out making at least closer to 90,000. And this was like 22, 23 years ago. Yeah, which would equate to.
I mean, I guess I don't remember that, but in my school, I went to a public interest school, so they definitely weren't touting on the fact that you're going to come out making a whole bunch of money. It was like, you're here to help the public. So I don't remember that being, I wasn't suckered into law school for that. Let me just say that. So yeah, I know some people do go to law school and are definitely interested in, where they're going to place that big law and how much their starting salary is going to be and things of that nature. That really wasn't my journey, but I can understand how people feel like that they equate lawyers to big time money when you get out of law school. Like you invest in the law school and then you make big money. It was like, no, I did a little video the other day, the broke law students, and then that's okay. You won't be broke law students for long. You'll still be a broke lawyer. because people have the idea like, oh, you're a lawyer, everything is just fine. And they mention student loans. Don't forget about this, pay the piper. So things of that nature. So yeah, like I said, there was some truth mixed into that.
Yeah.
Bomb droppings.
how was life for you when you first graduated from law school in DC? Like how were you able to survive, and were you surprised at the pay?
Well, I clerked for 2 years, so I wasn't expecting to have a higher salary clerking. But it was still hard living in DC. I think I lived in DC for 1 more year, and then I moved to Northern Virginia because I was like, it's expensive to live here. Like I think my rent at the time was like, it was $1,500, and they were saying they were going up to $1,700.
Wow,
for a studio.
What? For a studio in DC?
Yes, a studio over there in Woodley Park area, right down the street from the zoo.
Yeah, that's a nice area near the.
It's a nice area. You pay for that nice area. So going up to $1,700, I was like, I'm out of here. I can't afford $1,700. Even if I could, like for a studio, I was like, you can't. I mean, it's not even like a roped off, no walls or anything. So I was just like, I have to get out of here. So I went to Northern Virginia, like the Alexandria area, and lived there, and then started working. I was still working in DC the whole time, but living outside DC because like it really wasn't realistic. And then trying to pay your student loans and everything, like it's hard. It's hard, but I made it through. But let's let y'all know it's hard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not like you're gonna come right out.
You didn't stay after you graduated, right?
I did. Yeah, actually, I did. I worked in Northern Virginia near Tyson's Corner for a small law firm. Yeah, but my pay was really lousy. I think, my base pay would probably be about $36,000 in today's dollars.
Oh, wow.
And then I was also supposed to get paid commissions, which would have made me make a ton more money. But then the guy decided to cut my commissions when I told him that I had to move to North Carolina because of my husband's job then. So yeah, so things kind of sucked, but but luckily I was still, I lived in a apartment near Boston Metro.
Okay.
And I remember it was a 2-bedroom that probably cost us like at least $1,500 to $2,000 a month. This was back in 2001. Wow. Yeah.
That's expensive back then.
yeah, it was expensive back then, but back then my husband was working for Skadden Arps in DC. So, like he made
big law,
money. Yeah. That's the only reason I was able to survive was because my husband then made really great money, and I had no student loans, and my parents were sometimes still giving us money too. So, but otherwise it would have been really awful, making such a crappy base salary. I couldn't find any jobs that paid better, and even if I had become a public defender, that would have paid me even less.
Right.
A public defender pays pretty crappy even now.
Right.
So,
People do. I think people do public defender now work just to get like the trial experience and then go somewhere else, because you're definitely gonna get some hands-on experience that you may not get like at a law firm. Like your first year out, you may be second chair and not being like public defender. You get thrown right out into the fire your first year.
Like hearing your cases, you
got 90 days of practice. Yeah, so it's like maybe that's why people go that route. I know one person in particular, he did public defender's office, and then he got at the Cochran firm afterwards, because he was just like, he got so much experience under his belt at the public defender's DC. Now Cochran firm wanted him. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm tired of not making no money. So
yeah. Well, what about law professors? Like, how did you find the law professors at your law school? Because in this cartoon, they're making the professor seem like some stodgy, really old white guy that's like full of himself and totally out of touch with the normal people and the students.
Yeah, we had those, but we also had a good mixture. We had some of those though. Like everybody's like, oh, the tort professor and the civ pro professors, they got that reputation. And then there were some other ones that are like, oh, they're here for other reasons, but they like, oh yeah, such and such has a big house in McLean, Virginia, and that's like a really nice area. And it's like he's doing all right in America. So it's like, yeah, but you also knew he made a decent amount of money, but. So for the most part, I think a lot of my professors at my law school were in it for the good reasons, I think, even though it's like, we're not going to be poor. We don't got to be poor and in it for, bad reasons. So what about at Georgetown?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't feel close to any of the professors at Georgetown. It was mainly because it's such a huge law school. I believe it's one of probably the biggest law school in the whole country in terms of the number of students. Oh, okay. So there's like close to 700 students total, and then a bunch of LLM and evening division students. And so during first year we were in a lot of those like huge lecture halls where there were 100 to 150 people. So it's kind of like sink or swim. And I was not at the top of the class. So, I remember trying to apply for some of those like research apprenticeship things during the school year with the professors, but I couldn't even get those types of, of positions. So, but I mean, I do get the impression that a lot of the bigwig tenured law professors, they are making tons of money. They're making over $250,000 or over $300,000 a year. Some of the administrators are making over $400,000 a year. And, and I know this because my ex-husband is a law professor at UNC. So, and then a lot of that information from the public schools, it is public information. So, so some of the hotshot, older tenured professors and administrators and deans, they're definitely making well over $300,000 a year plus all these benefits and stuff. So I do feel like a lot of them barely practiced. So that's the thing about most tenure track law professors, is that most of them went to top schools, Ivy League schools. They might have clerked for a federal or even U.S. Supreme Court judge, and then they work for a big firm for a year or two and quit and go into academia. So they're kind of out of touch with the job situation or what life is really like for young attorneys.
Yeah, that's true. I think at my school, we had a good mixture. Well, of course, the adjuncts are probably the best. They're the ones that are still in the field. But at my school, I think a lot of them did have some experience. Like a lot of them had civil rights background, which brought them to my school to do public interest. So like their civil rights background, they had to have something to talk about to be able to come to the school. So I guess that's the difference between maybe my school and the one you went to, or just even like the typical law school where they have people who don't practice that much before they come into the, and I know on LinkedIn, they're always having conversations about people who like the academia who don't really know what they're talking about. They can just talk to you about it, but they can't really tell you. And that's what like the clinics came in at my school, where basically we had to do hands-on stuff. Like we had to learn how to file. We had to do file motions and things of that nature. So those professors knew how to do it because they did it for a while, and then they taught us how to do it. So I think that was a good benefit to us. So we kind of were being taught how to do the stuff that we learned in like the textbooks, but being really like, okay, now how does this work? How does civ pro work in real life? So filing motions and things of that nature. So.
Exactly. Like how do you even help a client when they walk in and they say they need to file a lawsuit against somebody? What do you do? Like, how do you know if it's a good case or whatever?
How much time do you got left and things of that nature? What's up, Marcus?
Hi, Marcus. Thank you for being here. I asked him if he wanted to be on the show too.
Okay. I think he has this thing going on today too. I don't remember. We all have stuff going on.
Yeah. We're all busy YouTubers in addition to having our real day jobs, right?
Right. And then and family life and everything else. Yeah.
Well, okay. You ready to watch the next video?
Then? All right. Is it another cartoon?
Yes. It's from the same YouTube channel, which only has 3 cartoons, and then I guess quit doing YouTube. So let's watch this. It's called The Future of Law School. There's probably going to be some more cursing in this. Okay, ready?
Political parody protected by the First Amendment. Any names used in this video are completely fictional and are not intended to refer to any actual law schools or businesses.
Good afternoon and welcome to Julie's House of Juris Doctorates. May I interest you in our space law special?
I had always dreamed of working in entertainment law, but that sounds exciting. Could you please tell me more?
Space law is a cutting-edge field. Out of the nation's 550 law schools, we have the best space law degree. You can even order it from our drive-through window. The space law degree is on special today for a tuition cost of $180,000. That is a savings of 10%.
Wow, that sounds exciting. The federal government offered me all of the student loan aid I will need to pay for that. I could not find a job with my women's studies degree, and purchasing a law degree sounds like a great idea. Could you please tell me a little more about Julie's House of Juris Doctorates?
We opened our doors 5 years ago after the Bar Association approved fast education law schools. All you need is federal student loan approval and a bachelor's degree unless you live in a state that does not require a bachelor's degree for a law license. At Julie's House of Juris Doctorates, we do not discriminate against anyone on the basis of LSAT scores or GPA. All you need is $200,000 and we'll give you a fresh law degree. A Julie's law degree will make you feel smart and people will admire you because you are a lawyer. Also, law firms will want to hire you because according to our own proprietary ranking system, we are the nation's 3rd best law school, which makes us more prestigious than Harvard. You can even get a law degree from our new drive-through window. The internet schools that sell mail-order Juris Doctorates cannot compete with that.
That's why I came to Julie's. I only scored 132 on the LSAT and my GPA is a 2.1. Highfalutin schools like Harvard and Big State University told me to fuck off, but I heard that Julie's will accept almost anyone, even people who do not have a bachelor's degree.
Julie's House of Juris Doctorates truly is a beautiful thing. We even have 12 locations across the country so that we can serve everyone. Today almost anyone can earn an accredited law degree. What is really great is that the federal government will offer people as much taxpayer-funded student loan money as they need.
I heard that graduates cannot get rid of student loans in bankruptcy. Should I be concerned?
You have nothing to worry about, my dear. A Julie's law degree is very prestigious, so you will probably find a job tomorrow or the next day and start earning the big bucks within a week.
That sounds great. I cannot wait to start living the life of bottles and hot male models.
So, can I interest you in our space law special? Or would you prefer an entertainment law degree?
I'd like the space law special, please.
Great. I will go place your order so that the professor can start printing and framing your space law degree. You will be counseling big aerospace businesses next week. That will be $180,000, please.
Here you go. Here is my $180,000. I know that this was a good decision. I am so glad that I came to Julie's.
And here is your shiny new law school diploma. Thank you for coming to Julie's House of Juris Doctorates. We also offer LLM degrees in case you would like some extra student loan debt.
Thank you. Oh look, I have some incoming text messages in response to the 500 applications I submitted for space law jobs. They all say, we would not dream of hiring you even if you were the last lawyer on earth. And hey, look. There is a disclaimer on the back of this diploma frame which says that Julie is not responsible for any misinterpretations of its fraudulently misleading employment data, which is consistent with the Bar Association's reporting requirements, and that I should have done my due diligence. Can I have my money back now?
I am sorry, but you may not. Also, you and our other tens of thousands of satisfied customers cannot discharge those student loans in bankruptcy. Thank you for coming to Julie's House of Juris Doctorates. I am sorry to hear that your life is fucked up now. Would you like some help applying for food stamps?
This video is a political parody protected by the First Amendment. Any names used in this video are completely fictional and are not intended to refer to any actual law schools or businesses.
Really?
Lord Jesus. There goes another one where there's some truth mixed into the humor in there
Well,
too. Like,
yeah, there is some truth to that, because there are some, like some students that think like, I'm going to go into animal rights or human rights law, or I'm going to be an entertainment lawyer, or, space law. They have those kinds of like weird secondary law review journals that are for topics that nobody's ever going to really practice in real life. So,
yeah, I thought, well, what did Marcus say? Marcus said something about the Space Force Agency. He said something about
what did
that
you
before.
say, that there is going to be a space agency? Oh, the feds are creating a federal Space Force agency.
Oh, I mean, who knows? Because they keep
NASA
making trips up to the space station
moon
and things of that nature. It may go in some direction. I'm not saying it won't, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's true. That's why I sent you a message, like 550 laws. Is it really that many law schools?
No, there's like a little fewer than 200 law schools now, because of few of them
Oh,
shut
okay.
down.
I was like, God.
No, they're exaggerating. There's
I
not
was like,
550. There's
That was
maybe
10
about
years ago.
198.
But they were talking when I did the video before about the online law schools. So there might be some other ones popping up that are not here, that weren't
Oh yeah,
I think
not
St. Mary's,
accredited.
St. Mary's that's here in Texas recently got accredited by, I think they're the only ABA accredited online law school, but people are trying to find ways to still go to law school and still work, which I see the benefit in it, right? Like, so, because not working and coming out of the workforce for 3 years can put you behind, especially with student loan debt being so high. So people are like, I can't afford to do that, right? Stop working and only devote it to law school. So online does make it easier, but it's like, but what you gonna do after that? And like, who's gonna hire you? I mean, you don't have to necessarily work for anybody, right? Because I'm always the advocate of like, if you want to hang your own shingle, that's fine too. But it's just like, are you really preparing everybody to be a solo practitioner? Because like, where are they gonna go otherwise?
Yeah, and a lot of the people that go to those types of unaccredited schools or online schools, they have extremely low bar passage rates. Some of them are as low as 20-something% bar passage. So it's kind of like, if that's the only kind of school you can get into, then chances are very unlikely that it's going to pay off. But
well, I know somebody was saying when I did that video, they was like, well, in California, like if you go to that school in California, then you
Concordia
can practice in California. Like there's some rule, like, so there might be a push to like not even like have to even pass the bar, and maybe that may be people's motivation to go to that particular law school that was in California they were talking about. But it may be a push, like we don't even have to pass the bar. So now what? Like, because the bar can be seem like a unnecessary obstacle into getting the practice.
I thought they still have to pass the bar exam though.
The California people?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, you can go to that type of unaccredited but California accredited law school, but you still have to pass the bar exam.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. But either way, I mean, it's like you want law to be accessible to everybody, but the reality is that the employers are not going to be hiring people from these types of schools that aren't even, accredited by the ABA. So, I mean, even the school they're making fun of here is the Thomas Cooley School of Law up in Michigan.
Oh, that's what they were making fun of?
Yeah, but they're still accredited,
but
yet their bar passage rate is dismal. Their unemployment rate is dismal. I think back in 2019, only about 27% of their graduates passed the bar exam on their first try. Yeah, and it's expensive because it's a private school. So I looked at their website. Their tuition is something like $51,000 a year, and that
just for tuition.
Yeah, and it doesn't even include, room and board and
Right. Exactly.
other fees. Yeah, so the total cost of attending that place could probably be well over 70,000 a year, depending on your living situation. So, so it's kind of like, okay, well, if even like Thomas Cooley law is a joke, then what about these like online law schools or unaccredited law schools and stuff? Chances are pretty very, very slim that that's going to pay off. But if the person just wants to take the risk and try,
it's definitely a risk. It's not impossible, but it's definitely a risk. Like, you have to understand, and just like you were talking about the brochures and stuff, like people predicting what could happen, you have to understand the risk. Like, I'm not saying everybody is not going to be successful, but the what you said, you quoted the statistics of it, like this is what happened. So you may not be in that bunch, but somebody is going to, because this is what's happened before. So just be prepared for it. But like I said, if you have enough, I guess, grit, maybe you can be the one that like, I went there, I passed, and I found a job, and that's good. That's whatever. So
like
I want to discourage people that are out there who may be applying.
Because if you have an in, like your mom or dad is an attorney, then maybe it doesn't even matter what school you go to, because you're going to have a job working for your mom or dad or family friend that's going to give you a job. Yeah, Marcus says, it's everyone gets in there, lots of laughter. They prey on people who think that's their only hope because of LSAT scores.
Oh, he's talking about the Cooley one. Oh.
Yeah, or any sort of like low-ranked law school that lets in pretty much anybody. They just kind of sell themselves by saying, well, we care about, everybody. Everybody has a chance at going to be a lawyer and stuff. So they sell people this dream. But there's nothing wrong with having a dream, but you have to be realistic, especially if it's going to put you in like $200,000 or even $300,000 of debt. That's a huge cost.
Right. You have to like weigh the risk. Like, if that's the risk you're willing to take, this is like the possible option. So you definitely do analysis versus just saying like, I just want to do it. Because I think some people just like, oh, somebody finally let me in, and it's like, okay, but what is this going to cost you? Like, really cost you? Big picture. What's it going to cost you? Like, could you have stayed at your other job and possibly even made more money? Because at this point, as a lawyer, you may not be making that much money at the job that you are, eligible to apply to. So there's some like non-attorney positions that make more than attorneys. So people get it twisted. Like, they just think that attorneys and doctors are higher. Right now, tech is big, right? Like, if you're in tech, you're making big money, and you don't even have to be a lawyer.
I once knew somebody who was, I don't even know what his job title was, but he worked for one of those like major mutual fund investment companies.
Okay.
This guy was younger than I was. I don't even know if he had an advanced degree, but he was making well over $850,000 a year. And this was like 5 or so years ago. I was like, how did you get that job? Like working for this mutual fund investment company. I don't know if he had like a parent or some, connection or something. I was like, where did I go wrong? I thought I went to good schools, and I have my Georgetown law degree and law license, and here's this young guy, making.
But you know what? The younger generations are finding different ways of making money and doing it better than our generation, or like older than us. They're finding ways of doing it better. I'm like, these little millionaire kids, like Ryan's World got a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan is a millionaire. He's like
more than 10 million a year.
Now, but they're finding ways to make money, not the traditional way. And I will say they're working smarter, not harder. And I'm not mad at them at all.
Yeah. But once again, it's kind of like, you can't look at a small sample size of successful people and think like, oh yeah, if I do YouTube, I'm going to be a millionaire. That's kind of just like people going into law thinking, if I go to law school, I'm going to come out making $200,000 a year starting salary, and then I'll be partner in 6 years, and then I'll be making millions. That rarely happens for most law school graduates who even passed a bar. But what about in the first video where the guy was saying that he had to get this clerk position, and he had a classmate that ended up cleaning toilets and stuff? Like, did you ever
I forgot
hear
about that part.
Oh yeah, well, that's kind of an exaggeration, but I definitely remember reading somewhere years ago about some lawyer who had gotten laid off in New York City, so she was advertising herself as a house cleaner, saying that, have a lawyer clean your toilets. So that's not really false or an exaggeration in that cartoon. But
people come on hard times.
Huh?
People come across hard times now, but they got the OnlyFans now. You might have to resort to getting the OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
you know, if you go clean toilets, you might as well do OnlyFans. You make more money doing OnlyFans.
yeah. I think there was some like Duke Law School student who was in the news a while back too for either being a prostitute or being in porn or something, and some lawyer that was also like a high paid prostitute. So I'm like, okay, well,
like forget toilets. Toilets don't make no money.
yeah, you got to have that high hourly rate, right?
Right. Like if we gonna do this, we're gonna make it worth our time. Thankfully, that's not either one of our stories, but it is out there where people are not, making, being able to get a job in the field. But you don't have to only use your law degree to be a lawyer. Like some people just use it as an advanced degree and become advance in their career and have that advanced degree to help them get a better salary. So if being a lawyer doesn't work out, you can still use that law degree to do something else. So
yeah,
you gotta kind of be creative and be like innovative. Like, okay, let me just go somewhere else and have them pay me more for this law degree, even though I'm not going to be a lawyer. But some people like the title of the lawyer, so they like, I went to law school to become a lawyer, so I want to be able to use it. I mean, you may have to not use it for a while if like the market is too hard. You may not have to use it for a while until you can get in where you fit in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in one of my live streams, I mentioned this attorney friend of mine who ended up quitting his solo criminal defense law practice, and then he went to go work for McDonald's. And the last place where I saw him was behind the counter at my local McDonald's. And he said that he really loved it because McDonald's was an egalitarian place to work. Everybody had to start from the bottom and learn how to use the fry cooker and sweep the floors and clean the toilets and, stock the bathroom paper towels and stuff. So I looked him up because he moved to another state. So now it looks like he no longer works at McDonald's because he was on management track. So he was hoping to eventually, become like a district manager or something. Yeah, but he told me he never wanted to practice law again. So I looked him up recently. It turns out he and his wife have opened up a franchise for Aqua Tots. There's like swimming school for kids. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like reaching out. I'm going to try to reach out to him because I think his wife is still my Facebook friend, even though we don't really communicate anymore.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's willing to talk. But, I mean, he's like one example of someone who went to law school. He went to Widener Law School in Delaware.
Yeah.
And he did some insurance defense work, did the criminal defense stuff as a solo. And then he got so burned out that I think he was getting depressed and just hated everybody. And it was really taking
so I'm glad you brought up that mental health and like, what's it worth to you? Like, you want to just be a lawyer and then what's it worth to you? Like being burned out and Chesley, who just committed suicide. Miss USA and like was a lawyer and was, extra correspondent and then committed suicide. So it's like, okay, I mean, your mental health is very important. So in law school would definitely challenge your mental health in itself. And then not being able to find a job afterward or being in an unfulfilling job afterwards, that brings up all other kind of things. So value your mental health. If working at McDonald's made him happier or made him feel better and have joy in him, then I would say
I mean, to heck with the so-called prestige of being a lawyer and saying that you're working for some firm or some big prestigious place. LaTanya has some questions here. Thank you for being here. If you want to tell us if you're a law student or an attorney. She said, do you know any sport agents? I sure don't. I don't know.
No. I know one person was going to become one. I don't know if he ever did.
Okay. Yeah, because like some of these like jobs, like people, I do hear a lot of like younger law students that want to go into entertainment law because that sounds like fun.
Right, it does. I wanted to do that too at one point, I guess, along the way.
But I think the only way to get an in is if you work for other attorneys that already have all those clients, because like some hotshot musician isn't going to just go to some no-name new law graduate. They're going to want to go to a real law firm or somebody that they've already worked with to represent them. But I would imagine it mainly has to do with a lot of contract law. Like reviewing contracts and negotiating
and PR stuff too. I think LeBron James was like famous for hiring his like own friends and stuff who didn't have any experience in being like a manager or anything. And obviously that worked out very well for them but he wanted to look out for like where he came from. So like if you happen to have like a famous friend, then you could possibly be, you know, in that position to represent them. But if you don't have a famous LeBron James friend or something, you probably have to put your time in maybe interning at firms of that nature, you know, that specialize in that, or going to games and rubbing shoulders maybe in the box with somebody else that happens to know somebody else, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably have to, or maybe like work for a copyright or a patent law firm if it has to do with like musicians that often have those sorts of issues. Yeah. So Marcus says attorneys have a high rate of substance abuse. Yeah. I mean, that's what we always hear. That's why they make us do that mental health, substance abuse, continuing legal ed every few years.
Yeah. I didn't have CLEs until I got to Texas, because Maryland doesn't have any CLEs. But as I come to Texas, they always send in emails about if you need any help with anything. I'm like, well, wait, we never got those emails when I was admitted to the Maryland bar, but Texas sure enough sends them all the time, and they always have something once a month to talk about substance abuse.
Yeah. Well, have you known any attorneys that had substance abuse or mental health problems?
Not personally. I mean, I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Or they do a good job at hiding it, either one.
Yeah, that's right. Because, you know, oftentimes you don't know until you start hearing the bad news that somebody killed themselves, or, you know, or you hear about somebody getting disbarred later on, and then you start thinking.
Yeah, I'm always reading about the disbarment things in the magazine that Texas Bar sends out every month. I'm like, what? Who got disbarred this month, and what they do this time? Like the grievances and stuff like that. So yeah, that comes up a lot. So
yeah,
take care of your mental health. And therapy can be as a preventative measure. Like, don't wait till you get into a crisis to seek therapy. Like, I'm in therapy now all year round, because I think it's important to keep my mental health not in a bad state. So it's like some people wait till they get it and then it's reactive. You can do proactive stuff and talk to somebody about stuff so that you don't get to that point. You'll learn ways to manage your emotions so that you don't get to that point where you're feeling like it's hopeless loss. So I'm always an advocate of therapy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Functional substance. Yeah. Definitely. I've heard some rumors about some attorneys and stuff, but
doctors here, like doctors in Texas, I think it was in Dallas, where this guy was like operating on people, and he would like get drunk, and then they probably like caught up with him, like he was like killing people. So it was like he was functioning. I don't know if he was a cokehead or something. Can't remember. But he was doing some big drug, and he definitely got caught. It was in Dallas area. So it's not just it's not just lawyers. It's like other professions where I guess it's high pressure environments.
Yeah, and a lot of people,
you have access to money, because like that's McDonald's worker have high pressure environment too, but they don't have access to the money that you need to do those other things, right? So money gives you access to, you know, harder stuff.
And the doctors have the access to the drugs, obviously, or
even
some nurses.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus is I don't know Butch Williams. Yeah, so interesting.
Vic, Michael Vick. That
I remember hearing about
don't get me started on the Michael Vick case. Like, I feel so many ways about that. Like, I can see both sides of it. Don't get me started, Marcus.
What do you mean?
Like it was a whole big thing about Michael Vick and this dog fight, and he was prosecuted for it. But I was just like, in one sense, I was like, y'all ain't had nothing better to do. Like, y'all care more about dogs than people. Let's be clear. That's one side of me. And then the other side was like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's breeding kind of violence. So I saw both sides of it. But from a racial point of view, I was like, no, y'all worried about him and fighting dogs. I don't care. That
they're picking on him, like selectively prosecuting
for
him
some dogs. Yeah. Now, I know people are dog luggers, but these are dogs. You're not humans. Like, people are getting killed every day by another human. See, that's why I told you, Marcus, don't get me started.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a live stream about law school and law school outcomes. So let's talk some more about the law school experience and stuff. Like, do you know other people who had a difficult time finding jobs even after they got licensed?
Yeah, I know some people had to do contract work. Some people just end up not becoming like lawyers. So they just like, okay, we'll just do it in another field. So they end up going in other fields. So yeah, I know a little bit of both. I think that it's like a reality, like it's like a third kind of thing. So there are people who are practicing what they went to law school for. Some people who are not. And then some people didn't even pass the bar and they just decided to do something different. One of my friends, like, he even cared about passing the bar. Like, he was chief counsel at DC Council. And then he decided to like just be like chief of staff for an agency. Like that's what he wanted to do, and he used his advanced degree for that. He didn't care about passing the bar. So, like I said, it just depends on what you want to do with the degree.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Yeah, one of my sister's friends, she wound up doing document review.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's how she met her husband, because her husband was one of the managers of the document review assignment
Oh,
thing.
that worked
But
out.
now they're divorced though. But
Oh.
but the good news is that after doing document review for a long time, she eventually worked her way up to doing some sort of compliance job for a major bank in North
Mhm.
Carolina. So
Okay.
she has a great quality of life, regular work hours. She's not actively practicing law, but it is kind of like a quasi-legal JD preferred type job.
Okay.
So she's happy. I mean, I guess like after a while she just realized that forget it. I don't want to keep applying for jobs anymore, and I'll just stick with what I know and stuff. Yeah.
I know that the doc reviews, like, I'm surprised they even have those kind of projects anymore. Because, like, I've never done it, but I heard, like, basically you're just looking for certain words. I'm like, don't we have control find now? Like, why do we need a person? Why do we need a person to do this stuff? And how much y'all pay for this? Like, something that probably technology can do these days. Like, I don't know. I don't know how long doc review will be a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've heard that already. Some of it's been farmed out to, say, India, or there could be software developed to take over a lot of the jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I was smart enough, I would have came up with that software.
Yeah, because seriously, like I just recently saw in North Carolina some ad where they said they were looking for document reviewers, and you didn't have to have an active law license, and it said starting at $19 an hour. I'm like, really? That's terrible, because there are no benefits that come with it, and there's no job security. So I mean, it would be awful to be doing document review. Yeah. Oh, Control F. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
I know it depends too. Like, people talk about getting jobs and, like, even doing all these, like, making law review and getting all the good grades. And some people I know, like, didn't even get a legal job right out of the law school. And I was just like, so when I talk about things like what makes you stand out from somebody else, sometimes it's people's personalities. Like, I know somebody who had better grades than me, but they were still looking for, like, a legal job after me. And I was like, well, look at that. Like, so it really depends on, like, how because they were kind of dry as a person too. No. But I'm just like, I think it makes a difference though, like, in regards to what you can do. Like, don't let that, like, if you don't have the best grades, or you didn't make law review, or you didn't go to the top school, discourage you from doing something. Because I'm a testament to the fact that, like, well, yes, I was on law review, but I wasn't like the top of my class, and I didn't go to the top law school, and I still, to this day, knock on wood, have never not had a legal job. So I'm just like, it's out there. Encourage those. For those of you who may feel like, oh, it's only for certain cross section of people, that's not true. So
yeah, I can definitely sense your enthusiasm and your confidence, especially when you talked about how you interviewed and went in to meet with the judge.
Oh yeah.
And then they got you an in to interview with the federal government or something.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. You just gotta just talk.
Yeah,
everybody does
hustle.
Yeah. I mean,
make yourself useful.
You got a lot of hustle. Like, nobody's paying my bills. I need to make sure I get this job. You be. It's funny how creative you can be when you're like, listen, I ain't got no other choices. This gotta happen.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Serena is pre-law, so her name is Baskerville. Bedford was the other commenter, but okay. I wonder how compliance differs from legal. Also, what are the major reasons why there aren't enough jobs for every law graduate? Well, I'm not really clear on what compliance means, because this is my sister's friend, so I've never talked to her about what she does. It sounds kind of boring to me, but I guess maybe they're like reviewing documents all the time, or federal regulations that have to do with banks, maybe. Yeah. Do you have any answers?
No.
Okay. And the major reasons why there aren't enough jobs, well, that's just the way our economy is. And as those law school cartoons highlighted, there are just so many law schools out there churning out the diplomas every single year. There are thousands of newly minted JDs every year, and the job market just doesn't have enough jobs being created every year.
Right.
Yeah. because I'm here in North Carolina, I think we have maybe 6 law schools now. And so if that's, say, like 700 new law graduates in my state every year, there are definitely not 700 job openings being created. And once people get those good jobs, they're not going to leave until they die, pretty much. Yeah, people don't even retire. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the case, especially for federal government attorney jobs? Like, people really like that, and there's not much turnover.
Right. I mean, they may move from agency to agency, but they still are holding a legal spot. So yeah, I would say that they usually stay in the federal government the realm of the federal government once they're there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, compliance is cool. It's right up there in the program fraud. Oh, okay. So it has to do with investigating fraud, do you think? Okay, feel free to jump in, Marcus, since you know more about this than
you might
I do.
know.
Okay, I was at the top law review and moot court. So Marcus went to NC Central Law School here in Durham, North Carolina. In hindsight, I could have went to a few more parties, but I have a photographic memory.
Oh, he's one of those ones that I had one of my friends. She was like him. Like, it didn't take much for her to understand stuff. She's like, oh, it's easy. He's one of those naturally smart people. I had to study.
Yeah.
No partying for me. I need to study so that I could pass.
Yeah, you got to study hard in law school. Yeah, it's so competitive. Okay, so Tony is asking you, how do you like Texas, and were you here when it collapsed?
Oh yeah, I was here when it collapsed last year, and I luckily I didn't have as long as everybody else. Texas is okay. It's cold again though, so I'm not liking that. But yes, I like it enough.
I see. Tony. Okay. And then Dr. Sev says those older lawyers not trying to retire to make space for younger. Yeah, they're not going to leave. It's just like law professors. That's why it's so hard to get a law professor tenure track position, because that's like a lifelong job.
Right.
Unless
that's
they get more
gig.
funding. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, my ex-husband is not going to quit being a law professor. I mean, he would definitely not want to go back to working for a big firm again, even if they would have him. So, yeah,
it's a good gig. I wouldn't mind being a law professor at some point in my next life.
Yeah. You just have to write a lot, and it's so hard to get your foot in the door.
Right.
Yeah, those dinosaurs stay working. My boss is like 6 million years old. His law dictionary was just
Marcus is funny.
Well, this is like good stand-up comedy. Yeah.
Right. He always got something to say.
Yeah, you should put this on one of those like law school or lawyer Instagram accounts, because there are some lawyer Instagram accounts that I follow, and some of the stuff is just hilarious.
I know they are. I think Insta lawyers or something, Instagram lawyers, they have pretty funny things. So yeah. Marcus should submit some of his stuff. He has an Instagram too, Debt Free Dad, that he talks about some stuff too. That he puts some stuff on. He has some reels too. That's a new thing, doing reels and short videos and stuff. So follow him on Instagram. Follow us at TXE Tells All too, if you guys are on Instagram.
I need to. I'm not on Instagram enough, so I'm not even sure if I follow Debt Free Dad, but I follow you guys. So
we Instagram. I guess that's where it's at. So I guess you have to be on all these platforms. TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
No, I feel like I'm too old for that. Isn't that a lot of like old people dancing around and doing?
Well,
pranks?
It's funny. It's a guy that I follow on LinkedIn who's like, he's doing TikToks and like illegal related TikToks, and I'm like, that's pretty handy. So he gets a lot of followers because he's like really creative about like random stuff that you wouldn't even think about, but that's relatable to everybody. So I'm not there yet, but we started to do Instagram. We did a 30-day challenge the last month, posting a reel every day for 30 days, which was exhausting.
Yeah, it is, because it takes a lot of mental energy to come up with something quick and snappy and entertaining, and then recording it and stuff. So I mean, that's why
Marcus did a rap on there. He was talking about personal finance, but he did a little rap on there one time.
That was funny.
Yes, that's his side hustle right there. The rapper Debt Free Dad.
Yeah. Hopefully someday some agent will be calling.
Right. It might go viral, and they're like, "Oh, we saw you on."
Yeah.
That's how everybody starts.
So what's in store for your YouTube channel? If you would like to sell your channel now, feel free to.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of things for everybody. If you want personal finance, we have pre-law, law school, and beyond. I do a little bit of veteran stuff. We do a little bit of vlogging. So if you're interested, we have something for everybody, just about everybody, even if you're not. We started out doing pre-law, but we kind of branched out because we're not just one faceted, we're multifaceted. So we have other things that perhaps might interest us. So follow us, or not follow us on YouTube is what? Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on IG. So yes.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about doing YouTube or any social media. You feel like you have to be dressed up and have your makeup, and
that's for women because the guys don't have it that hard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just turn on the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys don't have it that hard. Marcus, you got your makeup done? No. He just gets on there. So
okay. Well, getting back to law school again. So now we have a serious question. LaRita, could you please share if the decision to go to law school worked out for you? What were some of your favorite and less favorite parts of the law school experience? Thanks for sharing. Well, it worked out for her because she has a great job working as a federal attorney, and you get to work from home, right?
Yes, I would say it worked out okay.
Yeah.
I would say some of my favorite and less favorite parts. Okay, I love reading before law school, and I don't like reading anymore. That's all you're gonna do is read. So if you like to read before law school, will ruin that for you. Some of the favorite parts, I made some lifelong friends in law school. Tracy, who's the other partner on the TXC Tells All, she's like the little sister I never always wanted, I call her. So I made a friend like for life, and I met her at law school. So that was one of my favorite parts. I also have some professors that I kept in touch with to this day that I like text and just check with every so often. So and they just basically, one of the professors in particular basically challenged me to think about life differently. And I'm forever grateful to him for that. Like, he's like, don't just think about the stuff that's put in front of you. Like, think further than that. Be critical thinker about like why it was presented to you, and think further than like what you're only taught in textbook is not what is really the truth sometimes. So I kind of like am very critical of things now that I wasn't before law school. I don't know if it's like I was naive before, or now I'm
jaded.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is, but either way, I have a different way of looking at life, and I'm grateful for him. So I made some good connections with my professors and friends, and reading is one of the things I don't like the most, but I still are doing it to the day. Just know that that's going to be a part of your legal career if you're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be doing a lot of reading, critical reading, and understanding what you're reading comprehension.
Yeah. And isn't like most of your work reading legal decisions and writing decisions or something?
Yes, reading. We go reading files, the veterans files, and reading cases that go along with that, and then writing decisions about it. So yeah, it's a lot of reading and writing.
Do you have to know a lot of medical terms? Because doesn't it have to do with their disabilities and whether they qualify?
To a certain extent, it's kind of like we ask for medical opinions, and we ask like doctors or nurse practitioners or physician assistants to kind of assist us in like understanding what's happening. So we're not making medical decisions on our own, because that would be a violation, because we're not doctors. So we actually send it out to get opinions on matters. So.
I see. Oh, well, this is great that, you managed to find a niche in the legal field, that really works for you and gives you a good quality of life.
Yes, that's important. So I guess some people, don't think about it too much when they're younger and they don't have any concerns with themselves. But then as you get older, you're trying to factor in other people in your life. You're like, I care about what time I get off work, and I care about how much vacation time I have, and I care about boring stuff like TSPs and 401ks and stuff like that. You care about that when you get older. So
yeah. Well, is it true that a lot of federal attorneys can have some sort of work schedule where they don't have to work on Fridays?
That's me.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
I do 10-hour days. So I do 7 to 5:30 Monday through Thursdays, and then I'm off on Fridays.
Okay. So well, do you have to work with other people a lot, or have Zoom meetings or something?
Not a lot. I mean, it depends on what the kind of the week is. Sometimes I don't have to talk to somebody for a whole week, and then the next week I could have a whole bunch of busy stuff. So it just depends on the week. But
I see. Oh, so Marcus is asking, do you decide cases before the Board of Veterans Appeals?
Yes, Marcus. Not everybody's you're gonna be sending everybody to me. No, I tell them. Was Marcus' disclaimer, although I'm an attorney, I'm not your attorney. So any veterans that are watching, I cannot actually help you. I can't represent you. I provide informational things on my videos. But yes, that's what I do.
Yeah, because if people want to be clients, they need to find attorneys in the private sector, right?
Right,
Because
right.
you're working for the government. So
Right, exactly.
yeah. Oh,
I
okay.
can't.
So Tony is asking you more about your job. Do you do administrative law? Is that the area of law it's under? I hear there are administrative law.
Yeah, veterans law is like a sort of a administrative kind of law because it's dealing with the agency. So it's dealing with different agencies. So I guess that's considered administrative law, but it's veterans law and they have their own kind of niche separate from, I guess, a different kind of administrative law. So yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like the pay, it's about the same as the pay of an administrative law judge in the federal government.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, they have tough jobs too. Yeah, because I'm familiar with the EEOC here in North Carolina, and they just have such a huge caseload. Yeah. So Tony asked, based on your experience, is there any chance that law school costs will go down? No. That the government will have more opportunities to forgive more. I doubt it. I mean, it's just such a big business for pretty much all the law schools.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the motivation for it to go down?
Yeah, why would they decrease? They might just like have these fake scholarships where they say that, well, the tuition is really $70,000, but you get a $10,000 scholarship.
Right.
Or we're giving you a $20,000 scholarship.
Right. Yeah,
they're not
they
going to
up the
lower
price
it.
just to give you a discount. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's like an article out now on slate.com about what a ripoff master's degrees are, especially the online master's degrees. So I thought, even though they didn't really talk about law schools in general, I thought that was pretty appropriate because I've been seeing so many ads on Facebook or YouTube for these masters in law programs, usually from just no-name private schools, and they make it sound like it's so prestigious, because you can get this master's degree, but it's not going to qualify you to practice law or take the bar exam.
Right.
It's a money maker for the law school.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so LaTanya says, I want to go to law school. I'm not sure about it because I'm in my 30s and already in student loans. Oh.
Yeah, risk analysis. Decide what is worth, what you want to do with it. If you have any possible job prospects that like, oh, once I finish this, I'll possibly be able to work there. I think that becomes more relevant as you get older because it's like, okay, how am I gonna pay the student loans if I gotta take out student loans? So that you definitely want to weigh the pros and cons, but I don't want to discourage people who want to go. Just think about it critically. And then Tracy did a video about if you want to go to, I think it was HBCU law schools, but she was just giving you a rundown like how much law schools cost. Like I think she did maybe 9 or 10 of them. So you can get an idea, like this is how much it's going to cost you. And then decide, like, am I going to be able to find a job that's going to pay me at least that or whatever, be able to pay my loans back and things of that nature. So keep that in mind when you're deciding, I want to go to law school and what I could do with it afterwards.
Yeah. And LaTanya, if you want to tell us what city or state you're in, maybe we can give you some more targeted advice. But I would say, just see if you can get into the best in-state law school wherever you are, assuming that you want to stay in the same state to practice. Yeah, because I think that it's a lot easier to find a job if you're already in the state and you already passed a bar for the same state. Because I had a really hard time finding good jobs when I moved to North Carolina because I had no connections. I didn't go to law school or undergrad here. So it was just really a miserable experience actually moving to a different state. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Yeah, it's been just about an hour, so I guess we'll call it a show. Thank you so much, LaRita, for sitting through those crazy cartoons. I really didn't think that they had so much cursing in them. But
yeah, I was caught off guard when I recovered. I was like, whoa.
It was funny though, right? So yeah. Well, thank you so much. And well,
thanks for having me on.
Thank you guys all for joining in to today's
and
live
good luck,
stream.
LaTanya, and anybody else that's considering law school. I think somebody, I can't remember the other girl's name.
Oh, Serena. Yeah. And
Serena,
LaTanya.
yes.
Yeah. Will you consider creating the first online degree program?
It might be some money in there.
Yeah, that seems like a good crock or a good rip-off scheme to get into. Yeah.
I'll be long gone once they feel like, no, I'm kidding.
You get your master's degree. I'm ready to print it out of my laser printer on some like thick parchment paper. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for being here. And thanks, Marcus. Yeah, we'll see you
See you,
hopefully at the
Marcus.
next live stream. Next live stream is going to be on Thursday night. I'm switching it up on a different evening. Thursday, or actually, it's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern time with one of my former guests, Jonathan Michaud, the attorney from Boston. Again, he's going to talk about what life is like if you work for an insurance defense law firm, which I think is pretty specific, but I think it could be pretty interesting for people who are, maybe law students or young attorneys. Because when I was in law school, I had no idea what these different areas of law were and what life would be like, depending on what kind of law firm you go to. So, yeah. Okay. Well, LaRita, if you can stay on for another minute, we'll just say goodbye to all the viewers. Thank you for being here. Good night.